Because it's been such a long time since we last tested a Mazda, Mazda said, well, take this Mazda 3 and test it. And that's excellent because, well, we haven't tested the Mazda 3 yet. Actually, wait, we have. It was the four-door version, which I personally find much nicer because of the back, but the five-door version with the big boot lid is actually more practical. And this one is also the manual with the 2-liter petrol engine without a turbo, of course. If you're buying a car like this with a petrol engine, then most likely you are aware of the fact that, of course, a petrol will use more fuel than their diesel counterparts. However, with Mazda it's a little bit different, especially the i-stop system. I hate start-stop systems in cars, I really do, I loathe them. They always turn off your car at the most inopportune moment for about quarter of a second, just so you can start it up again. And what is the point? With the Mazda's i-stop system, however, because of the myriad of sensors that, see what the car is doing or what you are doing, this doesn't happen at all. It actually stops the motor very rarely, and when it does, it actually matters, usually. So what this also does is, when it does stop the engine, it stops 2 of the cylinders, because it's a 4-cylinder engine, at their compression level. So what this means is the starter motor will need a lot less work and energy to actually start the engine again. So, in essence, you will use less fuel in the long run. Mazdas are actually one of the few cars where I really don't find a lot of things I don't like. They're nicely made, of high quality, and have pretty shapes, especially their upcoming models, and are fun to drive. The 5-door has a big boot lid, which means easy access to the storage compartment and more practicality than this 4-door Mazda 3. Two exhaust pipes at the back, which are part of Mazda's Sky-Active technology. The entire exhaust system helps the engine reach more power and lower consumption. The interior is identical to the 4-door model. Lovely, functional, high quality, and perhaps just a little bit boring. You've got cup holders, an infotainment screen, electric windows. One minus I would like to point out here is the Japanese undecidedness with automatic windows. Usually you can only open and close the driver's window with one touch of a button. The higher equipment packages will cover the seats in leather, and I prefer them in a white or beige color, which really liven the car up. But don't think then the cloth seats are bad, not at all, and they won't barbecue your behind in the summer. Now it's winter time, however, so the heated seats and steering wheel are nice. So I've mentioned that this car has a 2-liter petrol engine without a turbo before. Nowadays you actually have to say it does not have a turbo, because most of the engines in Europe today, either petrol or diesel, have a turbo charger. So why do I think that this is a good idea? Why does Mazda still think it's a good idea to do this? Well, one is consumption. If you decide, yes, I want a small car with a tiny engine, so it will be very frugal and very cheap to run. So I will buy a small car with a tiny 3-cylinder, 1-liter engine and have, I don't know, 0 consumption almost. And then the manufacturer says, oh yes, our 3-cylinder 1-liter engine uses only 0.00001 centiliter per 100 or 1,000 kilometers. It basically makes fuel as you drive it. And of course that's not true, because usually with 3-cylinder 1-liter engines I find that the numbers are about 6 liters per 100 kilometers. By not driving completely economically, but also not like a crazy yob. So this car, this engine right now has about 7 liters per 100 kilometers average consumption. But you have to remember that we were recording this car, it stayed turned on for a while without doing anything. We were driving it at very low speeds while recording it, and that all, affects the consumption in a negative way. And I think if you were to drive this car economically, you could probably get it to about 6 liters per 100 kilometers, which is basically the same as that 3-cylinder. However, there's also another thing. Because this does not have a turbo, it cannot brake. And a broken or damaged turbocharger is quite an expensive thing to fix or replace. It can go into the thousands of euros. Not very nice. And the second thing is, we've almost forgotten nowadays what it is to drive a naturally aspirated car without a turbo. There's no turbo lag. You put it into any gear and it'll pull, of course, within reason. You cannot go 30 kilometers per hour and put it into fourth. But, it's fun because it just keeps going and going and going up to, 7,000 RPMs. And it's just brilliant fun. And also sounds pretty nice due to the dual exhaust system. So no turbo lag, fairly similar consumption, no potential horrible costs for repairing a turbine, and and Mazda's technology, Sky Active technology as they call it, which are all the little solutions for trying to make the car lighter and the engine more reliable and consume less fuel. So I think, yes, it is a good idea what Mazda is doing, and I think you should consider a 2-liter naturally aspirated petrol engine if you're going for a frugal engine. Oh well, if I start babbling, it truly is the end of the world. Anyone left alive? For those of you still kicking, the price. The base 5-door Mazda 3 starts at 14,500 euros, while the top-of-the-line one with the most powerful petrol engine will cost you 25,000 euros.